Samar Island is the third largest island in the Philippines and has one of the most extensive forest over limestone ecosystems in the country. This ecosystem is home to a wide array of uniquely adapted flora and fauna. Samar Island is known to be one of the centers of botanical diversity in the Philippines and has been nominated as a UNESCO World Natural Heritage Site for its exceptional natural beauty and precious biodiversity. For these reasons, Conserve Kaigangan, a biodiversity research program, was Samar Island is the third largest island in the Philippines and has one of the most extensive forest over limestone ecosystems in the country. This ecosystem is home to a wide array of uniquely adapted flora and fauna. Samar Island is known to be one of the centers of botanical diversity in the Philippines and has been nominated as a UNESCO World Natural Heritage Site for its exceptional natural beauty and precious biodiversity. For these reasons, Conserve Kaigangan, a biodiversity research program, was established. Kaigangan is a Samar local word that means forest over limestone. Our research program's mission is to assess and conserve the biodiversity in Samar Island's forest over limestone towards its sustainable management. One of our program's projects is the assessment of biodiversity and community structure in forest over limestone ecosystems. This component of our research aims to determine plant diversity and vegetation structure in various habitat types in forests over limestone, to determine animal diversity associated with forest over limestone, to identify functional classification of vegetation with its associated animal diversity, and to analyze the environmental factors influencing the prevailing structure of the biota. We conducted a comprehensive biodiversity assessment of forests over limestone in the municipalities of Paranas, Taft, and Giwan with remarkable findings. A combined total of 71 plant species were recorded from these municipalities, with at least 3 tree species classified as vulnerable based on the DENR updated national list of threatened Philippine plants. A total of 52 terrestrial vertebrate animal species were also recorded, including 5 amphibian species, 15 reptile species, 20 bird species, and 12 mammal species with conservation statuses ranging from threatened to endangered and critically endangered, including the ecosystem services that it can offer to the community. We at Conserve Kaigangan continue to further raise awareness and capacitate national and local government agencies, especially local communities living in and around Samar's Kaigangan.
Hello everyone, welcome to Kaigangan Biodiversity Webinar Series.
In March 2022, Ms. Elaine presented about the biodiversity of forests over limestone in Samar Island Natural Park, or also known as the SINP. Her study aimed to provide information on the outcomes of the plant in animal biodiversity in SINP. Second, to describe the tree community structure in SINP. Third, to highlight the significance of the nomination of SINP as a UNESCO Natural Heritage Site. This was conducted specifically in Paranas and Taft, Eastern Samar, a province in the Philippines located in the Eastern Visayas region. Some of the highlight of the results of her study are the identification of some ecologically important amphibians, for example, the Philippine endemic Platymantis guentheri. In terms of reptiles, a very interesting one example is the Lycodon dumerili, which exhibits a widespread distribution and has been documented throughout the Mindanao Paig, or the Pleistocene Aggregate Island Complex. Ms. Elaine discusses also about her interesting findings on birds, for example, the Bucerus hydrocorax semigaleatus, also known as the Philippine hornbill, a large species of hornbill endemic to the Philippines. In terms of flora, she found this new island record species, for example, the Tectaria calcarea, a fern or herb species with native range in the Philippines. Overall, Ms. Elaine emphasized that SINP is indeed worthy of its nomination as a UNESCO Natural Heritage Site because of its natural and cultural significance. For fauna component, 21 vertebrate species were recorded, of which 6 are documented throughout the Mindanao Paig, or the Pleistocene Aggregate Island Complex. And here are some of the photographs of the vertebrate species he recorded from the study site.
Good morning, everyone. We are thrilled to welcome you back to our Conserve Kaigangan webinar series for 2025. Thank you for taking the time to join us today for our last webinar episode of the year. My name is Nova Helvano, and I will be your host for this event. Before we dive into our program, let us take a moment for our customary kumustahan. I kindly ask our Zoom participants to share their names, affiliations, and current location in the chat box so I can acknowledge their presence. For our Facebook Live participants, you may also write your name and affiliation in the comment section. Joining us today is Sir Anatolio Polinar from Visayas State University, Baybay City, Leyte. Thank you, sir, for joining. Wow, we also have with us Sir Marvin Tejada from Qatar. Joining us also from Agusan del Sur State College of Agriculture and Technology, Agusan del Sur, Caraga, Mindanao, is Ma'am Krisha Marie de Velos. We also have Sir Albert Lachica from Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila. We also have Sir Mar Labandilo from CPSU Sipalay Campus. Also joining us today is Sir Jamil Cruz from IBS UPLB. Thank you, sir, also for joining us, Sir Joseph Morning from BSU Baybay City, Leyte. We also have from DNR Region 4B, Ma'am Hamza Adato. We also have participants from Sulug Garden Foundation in Miagao, Iloilo, Ma'am Kim or Sir Kim. We also have participants from Tawi-Tawi Regional Agricultural College, Sir Amar Aradaes. Good morning to Sir Samuel Brilio of UPLB Graduate School. Joining us also are my students. Joining us is Jorlene Ampaten, I also saw Donnaline joining us. Thank you, students. We also have another participant from Visayas State University Graduate School, Sir Jerome Lagahit. We have a participant from Aklan State University, Sir Rap Zikil. From BSU again, Sir Alvin Gubaned, Surgeon Torres from Don Mariano Memorial State University. To all of you, thank you very much for joining us today. Another participant from Central Bicol State University, Sir John Iliel Baroga. Another student from ESO Salcedo, Miss Maricon Obilio. So to all our participants, thank you very much for joining us today. So once again, a warm welcome to all of you participating in our Conserve Kaigangan webinar series. This is our last webinar for this year. So please stay tuned to our Conserve Kaigangan Facebook page for updates and announcements about what's coming next. I can already feel the excitement in the virtual air. However, before we proceed with our main agenda, I want to remind everyone that this webinar is being recorded. Please make sure to adhere to the following guidelines to ensure a smooth and respectful atmosphere. Please keep your microphones muted, especially during the speaker's presentation, to minimize background noise and distractions. If you have any questions or need clarification while the speaker is presenting, please use the chat box to submit your inquiries. We will address them during the open forum segment. Towards the end of the session, a quiz will be given. After you answer the quiz, you will see a confirmation and the evaluation link will pop up. So once you complete this form, you will receive e-certificates of attendance, which will serve as proof of your participation in today's event. Please make sure that the email address that you provide is valid and accurate, as it will be used to send your e-certificate. And now that we have established some important ground rules, let's move forward with our event. Our speaker this morning will discuss the riparian ficus diversity along the Olod River in Samar Island Natural Park. She holds a PhD in biosystematics from Wageningen University and research in the Netherlands. She completed her bachelor's degree in biology, specializing in systematics, and her master's in botany at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Her work spans plant ecology, systematics, and genetic resource conservation. Her research has contributed significantly to understanding Philippine biodiversity, particularly the ecology and distribution of pteridophytes and other forest plants, as well as the morphology, genetics, and ecogeography of Asian wild rice. She has published on species diversity across mountain regions, wild rice evolutionary patterns, conservation strategies for threatened plant groups, and the application of morphological and anatomical characters in plant taxonomy. As head of the Plant Biology Division and the Plant Systematics Laboratory, and as curator of the PBD Herbarium, she combines fieldwork, herbarium studies, and molecular approaches to document plant diversity and inform conservation across tropical landscape. In addition, she leads phases 3 and 4 of the Conserve Kaigangan project, as well as basic research on the development of the PBD herbarium. She also mentors students in biosystematics, floristics, biodiversity, and conservation. Everyone, let us all welcome our resource speaker, Dr. Maria Celeste Banaticla Hilario. Let us give her virtual applause. Thank you po.
Good morning, everyone. My presentation is titled Riparian Ficus Diversity along the Ulit River in Samar Island Natural Park. This is an output of the Conserve Kaigangan Project Biodiversity Assessment of Riparian Zone in Ulit River in Samar Island Natural Park, SINP Kaigangan. This project was implemented by the IBS CAS UPLB and funded by DOST PICARD. So I'll be presenting to you some of the results that we obtained from our study that we published in the UP Los Baños Journal, as you can see here. So this is the flow of my discussion. I'll start with some background information on the importance of riparian zones and ficus species. Then I'll lay out the objectives. Afterwards, I'll explain the methods that we use in the study, then present our findings and discuss their implications for the conservation and management of Ulit River. And then finally, I'll be ending this presentation with a conclusion and some recommendations for future work. Okay, so riparian zones are defined as areas bordering bodies of water. And these riparian zones serve as important transitional zones between the aquatic and terrestrial ecosystem. So the unique hydrological regime in riparian areas heavily influence the soil. And this creates specialized conditions that support a high degree of unique biodiversity. So riparian zones provide essential ecosystem services to neighboring communities, such as filtering water, stabilizing riverbanks to prevent soil erosion, and serving as a critical habitat for a wide array of living things. So we can say that studying and understanding riparian vegetation will significantly contribute in the conservation and management of riparian zones. So the genus that we focus on is Ficus, commonly known as pigs. So Ficus is a large and diverse genus comprising around 850 species distributed across the tropics and subtropics. And the distinguishing feature of Ficus would be its enclosed and fleshy reproductive structure called the synconium. And the synconium is key to the genus's obligate symbiotic mutualism with fig wasps, which are their sole pollinators. Now, ficus species are a common fixture of riparian vegetation in Southeast Asia. They are considered as keystone species that are crucial for the restoration of tropical ecosystems. So their extensive root system stabilize the riverbank, and this stops the soil from washing away during floods, and this keeps the river clean and stable. Their dense leaves and canopy provide shade over the river. And the shade is important because it keeps the water temperature cool and stable, which is necessary for fish and other aquatic animals to thrive. And then finally, or most importantly, they produce synconia or fig fruits the whole year round, even when other trees aren't fruiting. And this makes them a critical survival food for many animals, including numerous species of birds, bats, and mammals, and even some aquatic animals. So examining the ficus flora in riparian ecosystems can shed light into the health, functions, and overall ecology of the ecosystem, as ficus is a keystone species. Or the genus Ficus, members of the genus Ficus are keystone species. So we studied the ficus diversity in the riparian zones of Ulit River. So it's the longest river in Samar Island. Then we examined the portion of the river within the boundaries of the Samar Island Natural Park, or SINP, which is one of the largest terrestrial protected area in the Philippines, and it is also recognized as a center of biodiversity and endemism in the country. SINP is recognized for its unique and high riparian biodiversity, making it an ideal site for our botanical assessment. The objective of the study is to assess the diversity of riparian ficus in the Ulot River in SINP in terms of taxonomic richness, abundance and distribution patterns, and variations in diversity across the river sections. Okay, so the study was conducted along the Ulot River within SINP, covering the towns of Paranas in Samar and Canavid in Eastern Samar. So we utilized here, the river was divided into 3 8-kilometer sections. So the upstream, the midstream, and the downstream. And then for each section, 6 10-by-10 sampling plots were established. And then the plots were set up on both sides of the river, resulting in a total of 18 plots surveyed. And then here in the map, you can see the location of the 18 plots. So all ficus individuals within the 10-by-10 meter plots were systematically documented, geotagged, collected, and identified. Taxonomic richness was determined by counting the total number of species and subgenera. Abundance was measured by counting the number of individuals per species. And then the Shannon-Weiner Index was computed to measure and compare ficus species diversity across the upstream, midstream, and downstream river sections. Okay, let's begin with our findings on taxonomic richness. So we documented a total of 13 ficus species across the 3 study sections of the Ulot River. And this 13 species represents 13.1% of the 99 ficus species known in the Philippines and 27.1% of the 47 ficus species documented in Samar Island. Species richness was comparable among the 3 sections, now with 7 species found upstream, 6 midstream, and 7 downstream. So we also analyzed the phylogenetic richness now at the subgenus level and found that 5 of the 6 ficus subgenera are represented in the Ulot River, indicating a high level of evolutionary diversity in the area. Okay, so here are the 13 species that we documented along the Ulot riparian zones. So you can see here the species name, the subgenus classification, and their geographic range. So we identified 3 Philippine endemic species, namely Ficus casidiana, Ficus pseudopalma, and Ficus ulmifolia. So looking at their IUCN status, Ficus casidiana is classified as near threatened. Ficus pseudopalma is data deficient, and the rest of the species fall under the least concern classification. Okay, so this figure illustrates the species count and the distribution for each of the 5 ficus subgenera that we documented. So the highest richness was observed in subgenus Sycomorus with 5 species, subgenera Cicidium and Urostigma each contain 3 species, while Ficus and Pharmacosesea were represented by only 1 species each. So in terms of distribution, we found a distinct pattern. No? You have 3 subgenera, Cicidium, Sycomorus, and Urostigma present across all the river sections, while Ficus, the subgenus Ficus, and subgenus Pharmacosesea were found exclusively in the upstream section. So our data suggests that Sycomorus and Urostigma may prefer the conditions found in the midstream and downstream zones, as they show higher species richness in those sections. So the upstream section, more importantly, that the upstream section harbors the highest subgeneric diversity, as it is the only area where all 5 subgenera were recorded. This finding emphasizes the upstream zone as a key area for ficus conservation within the Ulot River riparian ecosystem. Okay, here, so this figure summarizes the distribution of ficus species and individuals across the Ulot River. Although species richness is comparable across the 3 sections, the number of individuals varied greatly. The upstream section had the highest count with 32 individuals, while the midstream had the lowest with only 8 individuals. The high number of individuals upstream and downstream suggests that ficus species are actually thriving in disturbed riparian habitats, which aligns with findings from other rivers in Southeast Asia. Another major finding is that 8 out of the 13 species are restricted to narrow habitats. Now, most of exclusively in just one section. For example, we have here Ficus umifolia, Magnoliifolia, and Casidiana, found only in the upstream section. And then Ficus ruficollis and Pistulosa recorded only in the midstream section, and then Ficus subulata and Ficus minihasei found only downstream. So this restricted distribution makes the overall area vulnerable to species loss in the event of a significant disturbance. So here you can see the 2 most abundant species in the river. We have Ficus nota and Ficus heteropoda. So they are found in all the river sections, indicating their wide tolerance for varied environmental conditions. Ficus nota is a widely recognized keystone species, and its success is likely due to its effective seed dispersal and high tolerance to flooding. Okay, so let's look at species diversity patterns. So the Shannon-Weiner Diversity Index, which accounts for both species richness and abundance, is compared among the 3 riparian zones in this figure. So the midstream section exhibited the highest diversity with a Shannon-Weiner index of 1.98, followed by the upstream section, 1.78. And then the downstream section displayed the lowest diversity as shown previously, and it also has the highest number of individuals. The midstream section has the best balance of species richness and evenness of individual abundance. Okay, now let's connect these diversity results with the vegetation type and levels of anthropogenic disturbance present in each river section. So we will start with the upstream section. This area is characterized by shrublands and perennial croplands, which suggests a moderate level of continuous human disturbance. So despite this disturbance, the upstream section showed the highest number of Ficus subgenera, so 5 out of the 6 from the genus, right? And the highest overall abundance of individuals. This finding supports the literature that Ficus species often prefer open disturbed habitats, and it suggests the upstream zone offers a high variety of microhabitats suitable for different Ficus species. In terms of overall balance, however, this section exhibited only an intermediate Shannon-Weiner Diversity Index, indicating that while the upstream zone has a lot of different types of pigs and many individuals, the abundance might not be as evenly distributed as in the midstream section. So moving to the midstream section, we observe a distinctly different environment. So the riparian vegetation here is characterized primarily as open forests. And based on our field assessment, this section is the least anthropogenically disturbed of the three. Crucially, this area yielded the greatest overall species diversity with the highest Shannon-Weiner index value of 1.98. And then since species richness was comparable across all the sections, as you can see here, so the high diversity is probably, you can directly attribute it to high species evenness. In the midstream zone, the abundance of individuals is more balanced across all ficus species. This contrasts sharply with the upstream and downstream sections where a few dominant species coexist with many rare habitat-restricted species. So this evenness suggests optimal, stable environmental conditions created by the less disturbed open forest habitat. Okay, finally, let's examine the downstream section. So this area is defined by intensive annual and perennial croplands and is subjected to the highest level of anthropogenic disturbance, primarily due to farming and high accessibility for fishing activities. This disturbance creates numerous open habitats. However, the Shannon-Weiner Diversity Index, as you can see here, 1.57, clearly showed that it has the lowest overall ficus diversity. This pattern across all the three zones where increased disturbance correlates with decreased diversity suggests that while ficus species can colonize disturbed sites, frequent habitat alteration in the downstream zone prevents the community from achieving the stability and evenness seen in the less disturbed midstream section. Okay, to place our results in a regional context, we calculated the mean Shannon-Weiner Diversity Index value across the three Ulot River sections, and that would be 1.77. And this value indicates a moderate level of ficus species diversity for the Ulot riparian zones. Importantly, our data suggests the ficus flora in the Ulot River is more diverse when compared to other documented riparian ecosystems in Southeast Asia. So for instance, Ulot River's mean Shannon-Weiner index is significantly higher than that found in the Samin riparian zone in Indonesia, which is only 0.72. And it is also even slightly higher than the value recorded in the riparian zones of Chiang Mai province in northern Thailand. The value is 1.56. So this establishes the Ulot River in SINP as a regional hotspot for ficus diversity, underscoring its importance for conservation. To summarize the core findings of our riparian ficus assessment in the Ulot River, okay, first, the Ulot River demonstrates a high ficus diversity in SINP, supporting 13 species across 5 genera. Second, monitoring across all the 3 sections is essential. We identified rare and endemic species such as Ficus casidiana, which require immediate protective measures and continuous monitoring. Okay, third, we have identified conservation priorities within the river, specifically the upstream section is a diversity hotspot because it contained all 5 ficus subgenera and the highest number of ficus individuals, making it crucial for genetic and phylogenetic diversity. Okay, fourth, the midstream section offers a model for stability. It recorded the highest overall species diversity due to high species evenness, despite having the fewest total individuals, suggesting optimal environmental conditions. Finally, the downstream section is most negatively affected. This area consistently showed the lowest species diversity, a pattern that we attribute to the highest levels of anthropogenic disturbance from intensive farming and fishing. In conclusion, these findings provide a clear blueprint for management, emphasizing the need to protect the high richness upstream areas and mitigate disturbance in the vulnerable downstream zones. These findings led us to 3 crucial recommendations for future work and management action. So first, we urge the utilization of the current data for the long-term monitoring and management of the ulot riparian sections within SINP. Second, future research must investigate the actual or precise relationship between ficus diversity, quantifiable disturbance parameters, and relevant ecoclimatic variables across sites. And finally, we recommend studying human ficus interactions in the locality, as well as broadening the ficus diversity assessments to the entire Ulot River riparian zones to capture a complete picture of this vital keystone genus. So here are the references that we use in the study. And then before I end the presentation, please allow me to recognize the contributions of our collaborators, Samar State University, Eastern Samar State University, Samar Island Natural Park Protected Area Management Office, TNR, and people's organizations, BOSSES, Torpedo, and TAWA. And I thank you for your attention.
Thank you po, Dr. Hilario, for that incredibly informative and engaging presentation. I am confident that our participants found great value in your insights. As we are transitioning into our open forum segment, I would like to invite our Zoom participants to share their questions in the chat box. Also, for our Facebook Live participants, please share your questions in the comments. I will read your questions for our speaker to address. As you write your questions, let me read a few received during pre-registration for today's webinar. Ma'am, we have a question po from Mr. Sabandal. His question is, how does ficus diversity vary across different sections or habitat types along the Ulot River?
Okay, thank you for that question, Mr. Sabandal. Parang beauty contest, no? Okay, if I may, pwede po bang mag-share ng slide? Or am I allowed to share my slides? O wag, ayan ka lang.
Yes po, ma'am. You can share po.
Okay, sige, wait lang po. Okay, so you're asking for the diversity. How does the diversity pattern vary, right? Nawala ako. So as I've mentioned earlier, so can you see my screen now?
Yes po, ma'am.
Pampabagal ata siya. Ayan. So as I mentioned earlier, it actually depends on what diversity parameter we are talking about. So if we're talking about phylogenetic diversity, so that's at the level of subgenus and the number of individuals, we have the upstream section. Saan ba ako titigil? Dito siguro sa table, sa summary. So that would be, kaya lang hindi dito reflected yung phylogenetic diversity. And then abundance number of individuals, that would also be the upstream section. That's why in the conclusion I mentioned, I identified that the upstream section is parang siya pwede tayong mag-focus dito sa section na to if we want to conserve no yung FICOs along the Ulot River zone. But having said that, hindi ibig sabihin na ine-neglect natin no yung ibang areas. If we're talking about stability and species evenness, na-observe namin yon sa midstream section. So, to summarize, no, in terms of abundance and subgeneric diversity, the upstream section it's a priority zone no, for conservation. In terms of evenness, that would be the midstream section. So, but then again, we should really conserve. Babalik ko lang para lang ma-refresh, no? Babalik ko lang dito sa slide na to, no? We should monitor all the sections kasi as you can see here, there are species that are confined to only one section. Okay? So in terms of species richness, pare-pareho lang sila. So I hope that I answered the question. Balik ko lang sa title. Yes po, Ma'am Nova, meron pa po bang
Yes, thank you po, ma'am. We have another question from Sir Abdul Karim, an undergraduate student. His question is, what ecological roles do riparian ficus species play in maintaining biodiversity along the Ulot River?
Okay, so thank you, Sir Abdul Karim. So ibabalik ko lang ulit dito sa slide natin kanina. So ano ba yung mga roles nila? So one, I think for me this is the major role. No, they support no a lot of biodiversity no by serving as a stable food source no for many species of bats, birds, and mammals. And then even some aquatic animals kasi yung kanilang mga fruits nahuhulog sa water. So some of the aquatic animals feed on that. And then aside from that, they also, as trees, no, they maraming nakatira na insects like ants. Sa kanila may mga species of birds na nagnenest, even some reptiles. And then they also regulate the microclimate. So yung kanilang canopy provide shade, and then alam naman natin no pag may shade mas mas lumalamig yung temperature, and that actually helps regulate the water temperature no benefiting the aquatic animals, and then it also allows the growth of some shade loving plants like some aroids as you can see here. And then aside from that, another important role is that yung kanilang extensive root systems help hold the soil of the river back. So preventing soil erosion and ensuring that the water is clean and stable.
Okay po, ma'am. Ma'am, we have a question po from Sir Tihada. Can you say that ficus plant species is the dominant plant species in the Ulot River riparian zone? Can you identify why ficus plant thrives in the area and the mixture of conditions that is good for these types of plants? May it be soil, fresh water, air, etc.
Okay po, ma'am. Sana maalala ko lahat. So yung unang-una pong question is kung ano yung dominant species. So as of now, no, ibabalik ko lang dun sa graph. Our data would only pertain to within the genus po. But we have a more complete study. So ongoing lang po yung data analysis. Mas complete yung picture because that would include all the other 3 species. No? But as you can see here po, so we have 2 dominant species. In terms of ano na po to, across the sections, we have Ficus nota dominating the downstream section, and then Ficus heteropoda dominating the upstream section. And then, sorry po, Ma'am Nova, ano nga po yung mga kasunod na questions ni Sir Tejada?
Ang kasunod niyo pong question, can you identify why ficus plant thrives in the area and the mixture of conditions that is good for these types of plants? May it be soil, fresh water, air, etc.
As I've mentioned earlier po, many ficus species they are parang regular mainstay sila ng riparian ecosystems in Southeast Asia. They definitely love yung mga open habitats. So, pwede nga silang maging disturbance indicators. But in the case of riparian areas, they're mainstay there, no? So they're part of the natural vegetation. I think it would also have something to do again with their extensive root system, and then yung kanilang interactions with various faunal species. Since maraming sinusuport na species, na faunal species ang kanilang fruits, nare-reward din sila because they are being dispersed effectively. So mas mabilis din silang dumami at kumalat. So ayun po.
Okay po, ma'am. Thank you for that. We have another question from Sir John Raymond Torres. Ang tanong niya po is, I wish to know if we are to evaluate the biodiversity in one area, let's say a forest or along an estuarine environment, is it necessary to include species that are introduced in the area, especially if the area is being utilized in tree planting activities and planting crops?
I think it is very important to include, ang question po is if kung isasama ba nila sa analysis?
Yes po, ma'am.
I think it's very, very important, no, to capture what is the actual what is the actual diversity, no, kung ano ba talaga yung species composition and diversity in the area, including the introduced species. That would give you a more complete picture, no, of what's really happening doon po sa study site. And then with that, mas ma-justify nga, no, ang urgent conservation actions or management actions if needed. Kasi baka mamaya kung nagdo-dominate na yung introduced species, that's really very alarming kasi na-alter na yung flora, di ba? So for me, any vegetation analysis study should be as accurate as possible. So you capture what is what's actually in the site.
Okay po. Thank you, ma'am. We have one last question po from Sir Samuel Brilio. He said that, thank you for sharing the outcomes of your study. Question po, I would like to know if there are associated plant species that coexist with them or any epiphytes attached to them. I'd like to know your insights on their implications to diversity of ficus.
Okay, there are certainly some associated species, mostly riparian species, some aroids, some ferns, yung mga shade-loving and yung mga mahihilig sa moist environment na species. Sorry, I cannot think of a specific example right now. And then, sorry, Ma'am Nova, meron pa pong epiphytes, no? Dito sa study namin, hindi namin masyadong tiningnan yung canopy dwelling species, but for sure, there are definitely some species na forming a symbiotic relationship with commensalistic. So usually yung mga epiphytes nga, mga ferns. And then there are also ficus species that are epiphytic. So and then may mga strangling figs pa nga tayo. So agree with Sir Sam. It's a very interesting field of study now that we really need to look more into.
Okay po, ma'am. Actually, I mentioned na last pa po, pero may nagpahabol po, ma'am, ng tanong.
Ilang po?
So this is the question. Curious lang din po, other than the disturbance between down, mid, and upstream, May ibang factors observed din po kaya that might affect ficus composition in the areas such as elevation, canopy openness, humidity?
For sure, there should be some correlation, no, to some ecogeographical factors. That's why in the conclusion, no, we really recommended, no, for future studies to include more quantifiable variables, no, even disturbance parameters at saka yung mga ecoclimatic variables. So in our study, we also gathered some ecoclimatic. We measured some ecoclimatic factors within the plots. Although dito sa ficus study namin, hindi kami gumawa ng correlation.
Okay, thank you po, ma'am. Thank you so much, Dr. Hilario, for that lively and captivating discussion. I believe that we have successfully addressed all the audience queries within our limited time frame. Now let us proceed with presenting the certificate to our esteemed resource speaker. Please allow me to read the citation. Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Maria Celeste N. Banaticla Hilario in recognition of your valuable contribution as the resource speaker for the webinar entitled Riparian Ficus Diversity Along the Olot River in Samar Island Natural Park, conducted under the Conserve Kaigangan Biodiversity Webinar Series on December 9, 2025 via Zoom. Signed, Maria Jenaline Q. Diaz, Director, Institute of Biological Sciences. Thank you po, ma'am.
Thank you very much po, Ma'am Nova, and also sa participants. Thank you for your patience. No? The quality of the streaming is not so good, but yeah, thank you. I hope you learned something from it.
Okay po, thank you again, ma'am. So before we proceed to our photo, let us hear from Sir John Ryan Navidad for some exciting announcements.
Hi everyone, good morning. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think so. Good morning. Thank you once again for attending our webinar. So as mentioned earlier, this is our last webinar of the year, and with that, we want to celebrate by doing a few giveaways activity, of course. So everyone, right after this webinar, we will be posting a question thread on our Conserve Kaigangan Facebook page. So kung hindi pa kayo naka-follow, kindly follow na lang po our Facebook page, and we will be posting a question there. What's your favorite Kaigangan episode and why? So this is open to all of you and to our previous attendees as well. So if you have friends or colleagues na kilala nyo umattend before, kindly spread the word. We will be choosing 2 winners with the best answers. So kami po ang mag-evaluate, and we will also announce the winners on the page. So the deadline for comments is this Friday, December 12, and we will be announcing 2 winners on December 15, Monday. So winners will receive a Kaigangan tokens, including a notebook and SEPA materials from our project. So thank you very much and good luck, everyone. So once again, follow our page and tingnan na po natin yung question doon and comments your answer. So thank you very much. Now I'm giving back the floor to Ma'am Nova. Thank you so much.
Okay po. Thank you, Sir Navidad. At this time, I would like to invite everyone to turn on their cameras for a group photo.
Okay, good morning everyone. So, paki-on na po ang ating video so we can see the beautiful and handsome faces of our participants. And for those na hindi po kaya makapag-on ng camera, maybe you could just click the react button so we will know that you are active and participating here in our webinar. Okay, sige po, I'm gonna start print screening now. One more, 1, 2, 3. Next slide po. Okay, thank you very much po. Loving those reactions po. Back to you po, Ma'am Nova.
Okay po, thank you, Ma'am Ann. Again, to our participants, thank you all for joining us today. As we prepare to conclude, please remember to scan the QR code displayed on your screen or click the link shared in the chat box to answer the quiz and to receive the evaluation link. Your feedback is invaluable to us. Thank you again for participating. We look forward to seeing you online next year as we continue our webinar series. Merry Christmas, everyone. Again, thank you very much and please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you po.
Samar Island is the third largest island in the Philippines and has one of the most extensive forest over limestone ecosystems in the country. This ecosystem is home to a wide array of uniquely adapted flora and fauna. Samar Island is known to be one of the centers of botanical diversity in the Philippines and has been nominated as a UNESCO World Natural Heritage Site for its exceptional natural beauty and precious biodiversity. For these reasons, Conserve Kaigangan, a biodiversity research program, was established. Kaigangan is a Samar local word that means forest over limestone. Our research program's mission is to assess and conserve the biodiversity in Samar Island's forest over limestone towards its sustainable management. One of our program's projects is the assessment of biodiversity and community structure in forest over limestone ecosystems. This component of our research aims to determine plant diversity and vegetation structure in various habitat types in forests over limestone, to determine animal diversity associated with forest over limestone, to identify functional classification of vegetation with its associated animal diversity, and to analyze the environmental factors influencing the prevailing structure of the biota. We conducted a comprehensive biodiversity assessment of forests over limestone in the municipalities of Paranas, Taft, and Giwan with remarkable findings. A combined total of 71 plant species were recorded from these municipalities, with at least 3 tree species classified as vulnerable based on the DENR updated national list of threatened Philippine plants. A total of 52 terrestrial vertebrate animal species were also recorded, including 5 amphibian species, 15 reptile species, 20 bird species, and 12 mammal species, with conservation statuses ranging from threatened to endangered and critically endangered, based on the DENR updated national list of threatened Philippine fauna. This knowledge will empower our stakeholders in these areas to make appropriate research-based conservation efforts for the protection of these ecosystems that harbor an assemblage of rare, endemic, and economically important flora and fauna. Through this program, people will be equipped with knowledge on forests over limestone biodiversity, including the ecosystem services that it can offer to the community. We at Conserve Kaigangan continue to further raise awareness and capacitate national and local government agencies, especially local communities living in and around Samar's Kaigangan.